With the dribble drive, we go a lot with terminology, and then we can actually run different parts of the dribble drive based on that continuity or based on those words. So you might run, loop, fists, curl, which are all dribble drive, concepts. But if you put them all in a row, the kids know what the play is. So we want you to run, a ball screen, pick the picker play with a curl cut, but it's loop, fist, curl, or whatever it is. So we just put it in really simple terminology, and we give the kids that terminology at the start of the season, so they start to memorize that as well.
Right. Yeah. Could you elaborate a little bit about building explosiveness with your players, and how does that work during the season? And that's something which I feel just gives an added advantage to a team over another team. And how do you guys in America do that with your players? I know there is some natural ability to it. That's what we feel around in India. But if you could tell us a little bit about how, as a program, you guys build explosiveness within the players throughout the year with the season going on.
Yeah, I would say I actually, at the school that I teach at, we have a strength and conditioning program in the off season that I actually work with the high school boys team. Those guys are all, and Roger very well, they're all kind of at Roger, his high school level with his kids. And I work with the varsity boys program and that, and again, that's off season, so it's obviously a little bit different. But they do a ton of balance work, a lot of body weight workouts, and frankly, a lot of taking care of their bodies with dynamic stretching and then afterward stretching. So those kids are required to be there with a tennis ball or a lacrosse ball or whatever, 15 minutes before we start doing strength and conditioning, just working out the knots that they might have in their legs, in their arms, foam rolling, that kind of stuff. And then one thing that I've learned is the strength and conditioning coach that we have has talked a lot about how in season the tendency, and I used to do this all the time, was to do a lot of jump training. And he goes, do not do jump training at all during the season, because the kids are jumping all the time in practice. It's going to lead to a lot of overuse injuries. So for us, it's more sort of flexibility training than anything else, as well as body weight work, whether it be tricep dips or push-ups or planks, or we use resistance bands a lot, especially around the ankles and things like that. They'll start practice, and there's about a 5-minute band warm-up that they do as well. But it's not complicated. We're not getting them in the weight room at the high school level for us. I know that a lot of programs do, but even the ones that do, it's a lot of maintenance, and it's the off season where they're really trying to become explosive, because there's so many overuse injuries at this point.
Right. And during at the high school level, you're allowed to work with athletes during the summer holidays as well?
Only not sports specific. We can't do basketball workouts with them, but I would be allowed to do like strength and conditioning. I could do that.
Mm-hmm. 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 Okay. Anybody else? I'll just move to the floor. Anybody else wants to ask a question to ma'am? Please let me know. I'm sorry. I had a question by Amarnath. We also see a lot of conflicts especially in the girls' teams, in terms of camaraderie and a lot of internal egos, etc., etc. Could you elaborate a little bit about how you tend to bridge that gap as much as you can?
Yeah, and to add on, sorry to interrupt. To add on to it, actually, even my question is of the same kind. Like, what is the atmosphere and how the atmosphere you create in the locker room? Because by teaching the age group of under 18, under 19, we see that there is some ego problem, or the atmosphere is not good. So what kind of talk we can give to them, or what what kind of motivational motivational talks, or what kind of team bonding we can develop? Because
Got
this
it.
we see in with the higher age group. This is not this is not seen in the younger age group, but this is usually seen in the higher age group. So how can we cope up with this?
Yeah, it's funny because I think the first thing they have to understand is that the game is bigger than they are. And they all sit there and say that they want this, they want to win a championship, or they want to do this or whatever. And there's a big difference between goals and destinations, right? Like you say, okay, I want to win a championship. Well, that's not a goal. I mean, that's a destination. That's where you want to get to. Okay, great. Well, how are you going to get there? That's your goal, right? So if you're going to set goals, they have to be actually goals to get to wherever it is you're going to get to. And the first thing is to understand that the game is bigger than you are. I mean, if you don't understand that, you're never going to get there unless you have supreme talent that can just overcome that. And ultimately, with the high school girls is to say like, all right, listen, in 10 years, I can tell you right now that if we win a championship, but you don't invite me to your wedding, I'm going to be really mad. Like, cause then I didn't do my job, right? I want to make sure that I have that relationship with you 10 years down the road, because nobody's going to care what your statistics were when you were in high school. They don't care. Like I said, I told my kid who's really, really good. I told her, I said, we talked 2 weeks ago, and she's a great kid. She gets along with her teammates, but she doesn't go out of her way to get outside of her circle. And I said, okay, so when your name is up on that banner in 10 years, you're the leading scorer to ever come through this school. When your teammates talk about your name on that banner, do you want them to say, wow, she was a heck of a leader and she was so great? Or do you want to say, I didn't really know her that well because all she did was hang out with her friends? Who do you want to be? And so I think even assigning practice partners and forcing them to interact with kids that they can't just pick their partner every day has been tremendously influential for us as well. And putting them in different groups where they're forced to get to know other kids that they might not ordinarily talk to during the day. But at the end of the day, it really has to be reinforced by the leadership on your team. If my upperclassmen didn't believe that, it wouldn't matter what I say. So I guess I would say you get 2 or 3 kids that you think have some influence, and if you can get them to buy in, everybody else will buy in.
Right. We had a couple of other questions as well. One of them was, I think ma'am's already gone over that, Sanjay, in terms of the strength and conditioning side of it.
Okay, sir.
In terms of what's being built, but we'll try to get you more information on that by ma'am later in terms of what can be done from an SNC standpoint, and maybe we can chat with her SNC colleague in terms of giving us some kind of guidance on what we can do with 15 to 16-year-old players in the country.
Perfect.
Could you also guide us a little bit about, or rather just tell us a little bit about the teams you like to follow in the women's basketball circuit, and teams which you feel are somewhat in line with what you believe is the better way to go about building your teams and your strategies? What are certain teams which you love to see at the college level?
I wish I could say I don't like watching UConn, because I can't stand UConn in a lot of ways, but they're so fun to watch, which pains me to say. I actually have really enjoyed watching a lot of, and obviously the Division I level is where the best players really are, but I actually really like watching the Division III level. And a big piece of that is also that's the majority of where my kids play. They're not going to be Division I kids. I think when you're at the Division I or the Division II level here, it's a job, and the purity of playing at the collegiate level incredibly competitively, but at a Division III level where you don't necessarily have to make it your job, makes it even more fun to watch. So for me, a lot of the friends that I have and practices that I've watched, Also, a big piece of that is that I don't have the talent level that, you know, some of these upper level programs have, that I can't necessarily run the same things. So I actually really enjoy a lot of the Division III programs that are incredibly strong in our area, and picking things up from them. I think it's all about what's relatable, right? I mean,
any particular teams you could tell us to watch at the D3 level?
Anybody in the NESCAC league, so Amherst College, Bowdoin College, Tufts, they're all just incredibly talented teams. I think it also is based on what kind of system, you know, you run. I think that they tend to be a little bit more similar in terms of the style in which they play, to where we are, and we can execute some of those things. So that's why I enjoy watching it. And that's where a lot of the kids that we coach go, you know, is that level. So it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, I think we're almost done. Are we missing out on any more questions, everyone?
Hi, Coach.
Yeah.
For this, can I ask one question?
Sure, please.
Yeah, my name is Santosh. I'm a player development coach. I want to ask, actually, dropouts usually after 10th class, means after high school, children will drop out because they want to go pursue for next level. But what is the criteria to get to some abroad universities? If we can promote the kids, we have a talent, definitely, but we have a lot of dropouts. Here in India, what is happening is we don't have FIBA agents or any agents to promote a kid. So what criteria these universities see to recruit them for their teams? That's what.
You know, it's funny because I feel like I do more connecting with college coaches than anybody else. I think, especially with game film now, you don't need to physically give somebody a DVD. I can send film, but a lot of it is me reaching out to the college coaches more so than the college coaches reaching out to the kids. So I really try to do a good job of at least trying to figure out what kind of school my kids are interested in. Do they want to be in a city? Do they want to be in the country? Do they want to go to a big school? Do they want to go to a small school? Do they want to stay close? Do they want to go far away? We put together a list, and it says, can you play at this level? If you can, I will have the kid make sure that they are the ones reaching out to the coach. Because I think nowadays kids are applying to 25 colleges or 20 schools, which is insane. And coaches don't want to commit to trying to recruit a kid. And I'm talking about at my level, not the highest level, but when that kid is looking at 19 other schools. So it's really, for us, it's about the kids expressing interest before the coaches do. And then me sending film and saying, what do you think? Can this kid play for you? Right. Because, you know, at the end of the day, if that kid gets hurt and they can never play again, they better like the school that they're at. I think that's really important.
Right. Also, to add to that, Santosh, we don't need FIBA agents to get kids to American colleges. The most important thing you need to do, and I can help you with that because I am doing a lot of that stuff and I'm interacting with a lot of coaches, is if you have game film of the players in terms of their matches, proper matches. Now, I'm not talking about just an unofficial game, but proper matches. We can evaluate them. We can do an entire skill development session where I can make them go through a workout. So I can even give them that side of it in terms of giving the coach who's going to be looking at them some positives and negatives, because I don't want all positives, you know, so they want to see the negative side of what that player might be weak at. So I could do an entire skill development session. I've had a few couple of players who've gone to America and got some partial scholarship and being able to survive that level. So I'm up for it. I will be setting up a center of excellence probably sometime this year, where kids from all across the country can come during the summer, train over there. We can make video workouts of those players and then just approach colleges. We don't get any money out of this. This is not a money. I think it is just connecting with American coaches as well as placement people who can get them to think. The most important thing would be their academics, their understanding of English, and their basketball game footage, out of which we can make some highlights. And if you have the game footage, even I can even get the highlight made. So that's not a problem. But by the way, just for your information, coach, we've had a few players from a particular part of the country who even got selected to play at the NBL Australian Basketball League for like a year. So that's huge for us as a country, for having a player getting to the Australian Professional League and serving that competition even for a year. I think it speaks volumes of what Kerala as a state does with basketball and how they promote the game. So I'm sure at least 20 to 30 children in India as of now who could make it at the D3 or the NAIA level, or even JUCO, I would say, at least, and maybe 1 or 2 kids who could make it at a lower division 1 school as well. I've seen a little bit of basketball, so I can say about that. So Santosh, not just for you, but for all the other coaches, if you guys find talent and you feel you want to help them get to the next level, there is enough opportunity in America as well as other countries, in Australia and other places where you can get a full scholarship and you can make it, or a partial scholarship. So Coach, we'd like to end there. We want to thank you for your valuable time, and I'm sure we all have some takeaways from this session. We would love to keep in touch with you, and if these guys have any questions, I will shoot them your way, and we will try to stay in touch with you. And we hope you visit India sometime, and you have so many cities to visit. So we will visit multiple cities and get a really good food. We can assure you of that, as well as the hospitality side of it, plus a great experience. So thank you very much, and very, very grateful.
Well, thank you. And if you say food, I might be in for that. That's not a hard draw for me. I would say, if you guys, I'm happy to give you my email and my contact information as well. But if any of you want anything related to X's and O's as well, I have a lot of stuff drawn up, special situations or end of game, whatever it is. If there's anything.
My bad, we missed out on that, but I know you're running short on time. You have classes to go to.
I do. But I'm happy to provide any of that or give you any explanation or anything. I'm happy to do that. So feel free to reach out. Great.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you for joining in. And I should hopefully see all of you on Sunday as well. Tomorrow we have a session. I can share that with you, by Coach Rokas Garlauskas from Denmark, who's a FIBA 3x3 professional referee, and he has been promoting the game across Europe. And 3-on-3, as you know, is an Olympic game now. So he's going to be talking about the importance of the game, why we at the grassroots level need to promote it, and what all we can do. So tomorrow is an interesting session at 6:15. I will share the invite with all of you. And don't forget to be here on Sunday as well. Thank you so much. Thank you, Coach. Have a good day.
Thanks, everybody.